But I think the vast majority of even good police officers, and we know this,
Yeah.
not just from my personal experience, but also the people that we know now that are police officers, the people that are in our family that are police officers, they tend to see police officers and then everybody else.
Yes, that's very true.
Right? They tend to see the men and women that I work with that are my friends, that are my police officers, that are in my department, in my agency, the ones that I work day in and day out with, the ones that I rely upon, the ones that I put my life on the line for, the ones that are there to support me, the ones that are going to come back me up. Those are the people that I see, and then I see everybody else second. Yeah. So right off the bat, they're already looking at the world from that lens of like, okay, you're not a police officer, so you're everybody else, right? And then it just goes down the line from there. So that's a problem. That's a problem that is institutionalized within the agency. And that is something that could massively help and change if police officers stopped viewing the world through those lenses.
Yeah. How does that happen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that there's really big change that would have to happen in order for that to happen.
How do you think the mindset would change in law enforcement if they weren't taught that everybody is out to get them, everybody's out to kill them, that they can be killed at any second? Like anybody can be killed at any second. But if officers went into situations, and I know their lives are at risk and it's not okay, but if they went into every single situation thinking that I'm dealing with people here, not this person's going to kill me at any second, how would their demeanor change? And in turn, when their demeanor is not ready to kill because they're afraid of being killed, how are the people that are dealing with officers going to change when they're not feeling that? Because you can feel that.
Oh, yeah.
So how would just that simple interaction change?
I think it would change massively, right? I think that would be a huge shift if you weren't taught to always be aware of your safety. Now, that sounds terrible, right? Because you have to be aware of your safety.
It's not aware of your safety. It's that everybody is trying to kill you.
Well, think of it this way. Like, imagine in this fictional world that hopefully becomes reality one day. Does my foot bother you there?
No.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I feel, yeah.
You feel what?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So in the fictional world where we're training new officers, like the first, I don't even know how much, like we'll say 2 months of fucking training is just like human behavior and interacting with people and communication skills and mental health skills and dealing with people on a one-on-one level directly from that perspective. You never talk about a gun. You never talk about arrests. You never talk about defensive tactics. You never talk about officer safety issues. You never talk about any of that stuff. You just spend 2 months dealing first and foremost with the dynamic of what the vast majority of an officer's job is, and it's interpersonal communication with people. It's conflict resolution. It's being able to talk to people and get not down on their level. That sounds terrible, but just being able to relate to them in a human way and interact with them. That's what police officers do that's what good police officers do day in and day out.
So what changes? What shifts?
That's not the way it's taught.
That's what I thought you were saying. Is like for the first 2 months, that's how it was taught.
No, that's
in the fictional world. Okay.
Yeah, in the fictional world, we go through 2 months of that type of training, and it's not taught. Every traffic stop could be your last.
Yeah.
Right. Every traffic stop could be the one that you get shot and killed on.
Yeah. Right.
You want to go home each night to your family that you love. You need to treat every situation like it could be a life or death situation. Yeah. Instead of being trained and taught that from the very beginning, rather than that, have a huge portion of time, 2 or 3 months of their training, even though they need more training. There's lots of things that police officers and the culture of policing that needs to change. But yeah, humanize people for the first 2 months of your career, or for the first 2 months of your training, right?
Yeah.
This is what the job really is. It's talking to people, and it's being able to communicate with people, and it's being able to talk to people. The other stuff is such a few and far in between, right?
Yeah.
It just is. You hardly ever have to deal with the other side of it. It's there.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even think that has to be a part of the job. I think there's probably a way for us to get rid of that as well.
Do you?
Yeah, because like one of the things that I was thinking about, the whole thing of like right now, whether it'll be the same, it'll probably be different when this episode comes out because the world changes, right? Every single fucking day. But right now, everybody's talking about defunding the police.
Yeah.
And the pros and cons. And the argument is, oh, go ahead and defund the police, right? We'll see how much you like life then when all the murderists and the rapists and everybody's running wild and it's anarchy and things like that, right? Go ahead and defund the police. So there are some exceptions to what I'm going to say, but the majority of the time when a murder happens or when a rape happens or an assault happens or something that is physical harm to somebody else that's going to take place, guess what? Well, the police being there
aren't going to change it.
Well, no. The police aren't there.
The police aren't there. Well, yeah.
The police aren't there.
Well, think about it. Well, I can think about a lot of things, and then I can think about what about when they are called in the heat of things, like we just lost an officer.
During a domestic,
he showed up for a domestic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like, I don't know what this, I think we went off, we were talking about.
Are we all over the place?
Well, we're very heavily focused in.
Let me go back to my list.
Police, which is, it's just all, I don't know. I think the violence stops when it balances out, when everybody can stop fearing for their lives.
Yeah.
If you're constantly they're teaching you in the police force, all of that somebody's trying to kill you constantly. And then you are raised believing that, not believing, but because that's what it's been, that people are, the white people are going to come and kill you. They're never going to believe you. You're always going to, like, how are you going to behave? Somebody's out to get, I know how, if you just even like separate from this in an abusive relationship where somebody never believes you and it doesn't matter what you say, they always create their own story and you get beat just on their thing and your life is literally in their hands constantly. Like, you're not thinking rationally. You're not thinking rationally. Your interactions, you're scared constantly. You look guilty when you're not. Maybe you might do some crazy shit. Who knows? Like, oh gosh. It just needs to stop. It just needs to stop. There's people out there that are passing down hate. Like, there's ignorance and not seeing it, and that is not okay. And that needs to change. People need to open their eyes. And I hate that this is happening in the world. But the fact that the world is opening their eyes and that there is protests going on around the world right now, that's huge. I hate that it took this. And I hate that it didn't just take this, situation. They're like, here, this one incident, and now it's changed. Like, no. This just is a moment where people were like, that's enough. That's enough. That was a breaking point.